What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Tim and Jeris' Sports Talks. I think this is the first time that I've gotten that right on the first try, but we're here. How you doing today, Chris?
I'm good.
You're good? Hey, you're not just okay, you're not just fine, but you're actually good today. You're feeling good. Good. That's good news. What up, Freddie? The evening. Let the free agent chaos begin. Yeah, well, that doesn't start until probably like March 15th. But yeah, there's definitely going to be a lot of pre-finagling and stuff like that. Yeah, it'll be see. What up, expert? Y'all GM needs to put sticky notes saying Desmond Ridder or Hal no matter what they like in front of the draft day movie. Yeah, that's hilarious. Yeah, just like in the draft day movie. Yeah. Have you seen that movie? It's actually a pretty good movie. I like to compare that movie to us in 2012 when we made the big trade for RG3, but then we didn't do any of the cool stuff at the end to actually make it like a really good deal. But it's a good movie. If you ever want to watch a movie, I suggest it for sure. Anyway, we got a good show tonight. We got Louie T predicts a name and says he's sticking to it. We'll go over what that is and his reasons why. I did my quarterback evaluations. I watched at least 3 games of every quarterback and got some comps for some of them and we got my thoughts on how they performed. Then we'll go over all the NFL playoff games, all the wild card ones, and what we thought about those games. And then, of course, we do our weekly picks at the end. And then this week, because apparently Jeris put it in the topics, but I forgot to add it in, we're going to do Super Bowl picks, too. Even though I've already said my Super Bowl picks, but I'm going to just stick with it. But it could change.
Liar.
Oh, well, I say it in the live stream all the time of who I got in the Super Bowl. But it's all good. We're going to see how it goes. It could change every week if one of our teams gets knocked out. Maybe we stay. Maybe we see something different. Maybe an injury happens. Who knows? But we'll see where we are this week. What up, Reggie Reg? How's it going? Also, Jeremy Grant might get traded to the Wizards. Plus, a lot of teams are interested in Denny Advija. That's interesting. I haven't followed a lot of the Wizards, to be honest. I've been so engulfed into the football world and watching film on different quarterbacks and everything like that. So it's definitely going to be interesting. Kenny Pickett in weird language. Yeah, maybe. We'll see. All right, you ready? How was your week? Did you have a good week before we get into it?
My week is fine.
Yeah. Did you enjoy the playoff games?
I enjoyed the Dallas one.
Yeah, we all did that one.
And the
And the
Bengals
Eagles one. Oh, well, at least those
one.
two. At least those two were competitive for sure. But yeah, we'll get
the
into
Eagles one. I turned that off at first quarter.
that. DRG. The scouting is so fun. Good luck, and yeah, hopefully you get some good stuff on there. Send it my way if you do. Chris, what it do, champ? Says Reg. All right, here we go. Let's hop into this thing. Okay, so Louie T's theory on the new name. You watched him talk about it? I did go back through and watch exactly like his thought processes, his reasoning. So his new name and guess is Hogs, or some variation of Hogs. Now, he does have some interesting theories. I don't know how, obviously this is all speculation. He is completely guessing, but he says Hogs or some variation. War Hogs, Wart Hogs, something like that. So number one, his run reason is we haven't heard anything from the team about it, right? Like, we haven't seen Hogs imagery. We've seen Red Tails. We've seen Commanders. We've seen Admirals. We've seen Red Wolves. We've seen all sorts of other things coming out of these making the brand videos, but we haven't seen Hogs. So could all the other names be smoke screens, and they're actually keeping the one they really want, like, in the back, right? So that's his first theory, and it's just a theory. Next, it brings the old fans a sense of pride again. It brings them back in, and they all know the Hogs, the older generation. They're all familiar with that. They all are in love with the Hogs. You have the grown men wearing the Hogettes. So it brings a sense of pride, and Jason Wright did say the new name will bring a great sense of pride to the fan base, and what better name could be than some sort of variation of the Hogs. And as Louie T said, even if they were called the War Hogs or the Wart Hogs or something like that, or the Red Hogs, everybody's going to call us the Hogs anyway. Just like we're the Redskins before, I would say, yeah, I'm going to the Skins game. I'm a Skins fan, whatever, right? his least interesting evidence to me, but he was really adamant or animated when talking about this. Why February 2nd, 2022? Why 2/2/2022? And as many other people have pointed out, it is Groundhog Day. Groundhog Day. So, do you buy into this theory? Do you think he's onto something? You think he sniffed it out? Or do you think it's actually going to be one of the ones that we've been hearing about and he just went on a whole tangent and it is?
I agree with him. It makes too much sense.
Okay.
It makes entirely too much sense. It really does. I mean, the whole scenario, how he broke it down, like that makes a lot of sense. Why on that particular? They could have did it any other day, but why on that particular day? They just say, you know what? Screw it. February 2nd. It just makes too much sense.
Yeah, especially because it's a Wednesday morning. That didn't make sense, right? Why a Wednesday? The only reason I think it may just be a coincidence is because 2/2/22 sounds cool.
If anything, do it on Super Bowl week.
It is Super Bowl week, isn't it? Or is it 2 weeks before the Super Bowl?
Or like during the Super Bowl or something like that?
During the Super Bowl.
Like a Super Bowl commercial or something where most eyes are on it, you get more money.
Right. Oh, well, it's a terrible timing of the day. They're going to do it in the morning where most people are at work. So it's definitely going to be a weird situation there. I don't even know how. Is it like. It's in New York as well. One of the shows in New York. I can't even remember. But it's an interesting one. Like, I don't know. I just think they liked the idea of 2/2/22, and then 2/22/22 is too far away. Like, they didn't want to wait until the end of the month. So I just think they were like, all right, what's a good day to do it? February 2nd, 2/2/22. It makes a cool moniker on top of our Twitter page. It looks clean. It looks good. Honestly, I just think that's all it is. I don't think Groundhog Day is at all. Now, if the name is Hogs, then totally they picked Groundhog Day on purpose. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'll definitely be hindsight being 2020. They definitely did that. But they've done such a great job of not dropping hints around the name. Why, right at the end, will they drop a hint trying to, like, give away the name in some sort of fashion as well? Like, why is that their game? If they wanted it to be such a big event, such a big deal of, we're going to say it on this day, we don't want it leaked, we're going to announce it, why drop an extra hint?
They didn't give an extra hint.
Yeah, they said if Groundhog Day
I mean,
is a thing.
But Louie said that. They didn't say that.
Well, they didn't say it, but they did it. They said they were going to be on Groundhog Day.
Oh, well, I don't know.
They've done a good job not getting leaked either. I mean, if it's not one of the ones that have been quote-unquote leaked, then they did a phenomenal job.
Like I said, I think, in my opinion, I think they just doing this program for it to be Red Wolves. They just telling us that it's not Red Wolves just so it can be Red Wolves. That's my theory, but who knows?
My favorite would be Red Hogs. And I don't think they're going to go back to the R, but I would like Red Hogs to keep the R. I think that would be a nice. It would be a pay homage to the Hogs. One of the reasons why I didn't want Hogs.
But I would say this, though. If they do Hogs, that's your identity as this team moving forward. Everything's in the trenches.
Yeah, everything is about
You're going to have to be Roger Smith's kind of team.
Would you then have to draft more O-line? Would you draft like a
they
Tyler
already
Linderbaum or whatever his name is, the center?
No.
Put him at guard. Put him at right guard. Replace Brandon Sheriff with him. Anyway, one of the reasons why I didn't want Hogs in the beginning, and it's probably more so, I'm going to be honest, is I just really wanted Red Wolves, so I just came up with a reason. But one of the things is that Hogs was an exclusive group. Right? Like, nobody just joined the Hogs, right? Like, the Hogs were, like, Joe Theismann wanted to be in the Hogs, he wasn't allowed in the Hogs, right? Other people on the team wanted to be in the Hogs, they weren't allowed. Like, it was literally it was John Riggins. Did they let the tight end, Doc Walker? I don't know if Doc Walker was in there or not. And then the 5 offensive linemen, and then also the rest of the offensive line, the backups. Like, it was an exclusive group to be in the Hogs. So I was like, don't make it the Hogs. Because, like, that's allowing people into the Hogs that shouldn't be into the Hogs. But honestly, that was probably more of just an excuse just to get rid of that name so we could stay on the Red Wolves. But I can kind of throw that excuse away. I'm not throwing my Red Tails excuses away. Those aren't excuses. Those are real. Like, I really just don't want Red Tails. But Red Hogs, or some variation of Hogs, I'll live with. And as I said, anything but Red Tails at this point, and I'll be all right. What up, Protect? How's it going? I wouldn't mind Red Hawks, says Reggie Reg. There you go. They better not name it Red Hawks because of the Seahawks. Yeah, I think Red Hawks is out. Tyler Lindenbaum is a beast. Whoever gets him is getting a steal. Yeah, it's an interior offensive lineman, but I hear that great things about him. I haven't watched tape on him yet, but I do hear some great things about Linderbaum, but we'll see. I also hear a lot of great things about a lot of players, but we'll see what I actually think on the tape. All right, you ready to hop into these QB evaluations?
Sure.
All right, so I watched at least 3 games, I believe, on everybody at some point that I have listed. So I've had listed in. Actually, I'm going to wait because I have them in order of how I rank them now. Okay, so I'll start with. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 names. Okay, what do you think about? So this is my last one. This is my 7th out of the 7. Carson Strong. How do you feel about Carson Strong?
He's okay. I mean, he's a backup.
I am not a fan of Carson Strong at all. He stares down receivers. He doesn't throw people open. When I watch him, it's like he has to see a man wide open to throw it to him, right? To say he's slow, and yes, I understand he has a knee injury, is an understatement. I clocked him going 25 yards downfield. And this is also out of a sprint already, right? So it's not like he just started and have to get acceleration. This is already out of a sprint. At 3.6 seconds. If you translate that to a 40-yard dash, or it was 3.5 seconds, 40-yard dash, that's 5.6 second 40-yard dash. I mean, he's moving at snail's pace times 2. It is so slow. Okay, but that's just one. What's that?
That's worse than Trask.
I know, it was worse than Kyle Trask and Dwayne Haskins. Like, he is slow. Now, that's just one thing. Something that's good about him is he does have good pocket presence. Like, he'll slide to buy a little time. I do like that part about him. His arm didn't wow me on tape. I mean, he has a fine arm. I think at the next level, his arm would be fine. But it wasn't like, ooh, like watching Pat Mahomes throw off his back foot 50 yards downfield or something like that. It's not bad. His accuracy, I don't think it was all impressive to me. Honestly, when I watched the 3 games of Carson Strong, I was not impressed at all. And he actually moved so far down. He is at the bottom of my list out of the 7. Next up, I have at number 6, Bailey Zappi. You like Bailey Zappi? The Western Kentucky breaking all the records. I think in your video you said you hadn't watched any of them. Have you watched any of them yet now?
No, and I don't kid you.
I don't really blame you because to me, he's Case Keenum 2.0. Case Keenum had stats through the roof. I think it was like 60 touchdowns, 5,900 yards, only like 8 interceptions or something, 7, or maybe even 5 interceptions. Like, his college stats were absolutely incredible, right? At Houston, University of Houston. I watched Bailey Zapp, and it's very similar, just Strong in a lot of ways. He doesn't really break out to me. He seems like a guy that's playing in a lower competition, because he is, and he's able to use that to his advantage and absolutely crush the opponents. And I think, to me, him at the next level, he's a very similar size. I think they're both 6'1". They're not overly, great size or any direction like that. He doesn't have a phenomenal arm, just an average arm. Bailey Zappi, whatever. I don't want him. I know I have him on my list just because he's here, but I don't want Bailey Zappi at all. Number 5. This guy actually has now sneaked into my top 5. And I think this really goes to show, you know how everybody's been saying this class is not very good? The class of quarterbacks is not very good. The fact that this guy is my top 5, I actually agree. This is not a very good class of quarterbacks, and that is Malik Willis. Go ahead and just give us your synopsis, your quick read on what do you think about Malik Willis?
He's
you like
terrible. Him? He's a horrible. He's not a quarterback. He's an NFL player. I keep saying it. He's not a quarterback. There's like 30 to 40 different things wrong with him.
Yeah.
Like, he's not good. Like, what makes me so mad, his last game, he had like 5 touchdowns, right? But he had a 52 completion percentage. But
Actually, I don't
no
even think he threw 5 touchdowns. I think he threw 3 and ran 2.
two.
I think he
Okay,
had 5 total.
total.
Yeah.
And he had 52 completion percentage, and they say he played great. You see how they just ignore, like, you had a 52 completion percentage.
Right.
You're not a quarterback. You're Taysom Hill. He's a black Taysom Hill with slightly more accuracy, very, very slightly. But he's less athletic. He's not more athletic than Taysom Hill.
Malik Willis is Terrell Pryor when he was drafted to the Raiders.
You know what? That actually might be a very, very, very good comp because neither can throw,
right?
But athletic and backups. And guess what? Neither was actually a quarterback.
Neither was actually. Yeah, he ended up being a receiver.
Exactly.
Terrell Pryor, but Terrell Pryor was bigger than he is, right? Because Malik Willis is only 6'1".
Taller.
Yeah,
he was taller.
Fair enough. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I'm not. I just definitely don't want hogs. A pig is an unappealing animal. Nothing is lining up for pig merchandise. Well, that's the thing. For our franchise, yes, they would, because the hogs is so important. We literally had grown men dressed as female hogs. Like, that's how much this fan base loves the hog moniker. So yes, there would be a lot of people. And I do like that Dr. Pig disagrees with his anti-pig sentiment. But Malik Willis, to me, the reason he's moved up is because the other two didn't impress me, but he does have some physical abilities that if you fixed a whole boatload of other things, that maybe you could get something out of him. Because he does have a strong arm. He does have a very strong arm. Like, you see it, especially on the move. He could launch the football. But pocket awareness might be zero. It's incredible. I saw him spin when nobody was around. He just all of a sudden did a pirouette spin move trying to dodge nobody. I didn't understand what that was. He every single time the pocket collapses, his eyes go down, and now he's a runner. Like, he is not looking to throw the football at all as soon as the pocket collapses, and it's just terrible. His accuracy, whatever. I don't even remember exactly what I wrote down as far as how accurate he is. But as you mentioned, his completion percentage is not very high in many ways. And some people blame the University of Liberty. Oh, he had bad players around him. Well, he also played against bad competition. And when you play at that bad competition, usually that means you go absolutely berserk on your stat sheet. And he did not, like, I have to look up exact stats, but he is not even comparable to, or definitely not comparable to Zappy, or Strong, Pickett, Corral. Like, he's not even on the same level with those stats. But anyway, so I'm totally out on Malik Willis. To me, he's like maybe a third or a fourth round reach if you want a backup quarterback to see what he can do and use a lot of work with him. My number 4, who's actually fallen out of my top 3, he was in my top 3, but after watching the film, I am not as high on Howell anymore. Sam Howell has moved down the list. What are your thoughts on Howell?
Beast, animal, fantastic.
Beast, animal, fantastic. Warrior. He is tough. I definitely give him credit for being tough. But I don't understand all of the hate for a guy like Corral that runs with such vigor and such toughness when you have a guy that's the same height and just 20 pounds more that literally at one point I was watching a game and the commentator screamed, "Breaking news! He just slid. Sam Howell just slid." Like, he does not slide. He runs like Adrian Peterson, obviously not in the way of like super fast and super agile, but I'm just talking about when he sees a guy in front of him, he's trying to run through. Like, he is trying to get as many yards as possible. So a guy who doesn't have tremendous stature continuously taking hits like that, like, he almost runs like Cam Newton. And Cam Newton's a 6'5", 240-pound quarterback, and he's had injury problems his whole career. So I'm not a fan of Sam Howell anymore. And honestly, I don't want him at pick 11 at all. And to me, if we get him at pick in the second round, I mean, I feel like we have maybe a little bit better Taylor Heineke. and we're going to have to see what he
I
can do
disagree
eventually.
with that.
I mean, very similar stature, mobile quarterbacks, but not like
That's
overly
not
mobile.
Heineke's smaller than him.
I mean, they're the same height, but maybe like Heineke's a little bit lighter in the britches. But what is his? I have to see.
I mean,
What is
at
his
the end
height?
of the day, Hal has to do what he has to do. Like,
Sam Howell.
that's why I respect Hal. If he has to run over 2 linebackers to win a game, he'll do it.
Yeah.
That's why I like him. But that's what they asked of him.
He's smaller in weight. Heineke is. I think he did add weight for this season, though.
I disagree with that, though. But
I mean, that's what the stats say. But I remember he gained weight for this season. So he's actually, this year's Taylor Heineke is probably very similar to the size of Sam Howell right now. You should narrow your list to 3. Well, I'm just giving my thoughts on everybody. I'm about to get into my top 3 right now, okay? So here's my top 3. Corral at number 3. And Corral has moved up my board. I was not, when I initially watched a little bit of him, I wasn't super thrilled. But watching more of the tape, he's an extremely smart quarterback. I love watching him in the pocket, can make his slight movements. He uses his eyes tremendously. He'll look off safeties, come back the other way. He uses pump fakes tremendously. He is a very cerebral quarterback. He also has a strong arm. His deep passes in the games that I watched weren't very accurate. Honestly, I don't know if he completed one. He was more of a guy that wanted to nickel and dime you. Like, his favorite route is the slant, and he was money. Anytime his guys ran a slant, he was pretty much right in the breadbasket, in stride, move it on. Matt Corral was very accurate in the short and intermediate game, but deep downfield, I don't remember all 3 games I watched. I have to think, like, go back and which ones I actually watched on YouTube. I don't think he completed a single deep pass, which is not great, because I do want a quarterback that can throw the back shoulder throw, and I didn't see a whole lot of those for me. And then I also do acknowledge his injury concerns, which is why I don't want him at pick number 11. He does run a lot, and he does like to take hits, like people have said in the past, so I'm not the biggest on Corral. Here's my top 2. All right, my top 2 quarterbacks, and based on the names I said, you guys know it's Pickett and Ritter. But number 2 today, and it may change, I have Ritter at number 2, and I have Pickett at number 1. That's how I rank these quarterbacks. And here is some comps. I know that Jeris, when you were asked by, was it Nadi or somebody, was it on the Protex thing when somebody asked you what was his comp? You couldn't. Juan Gotti asked what was his comp. That's what it was. And he couldn't, or you didn't know at the time. Who do you have a comp now?
I mean, I have a ceiling. I don't have a comp for him, really, but I have a ceiling for him.
All right, here is my comp that is his ceiling. And I didn't tell you this in our text messages. So first off, actually, I'm going to tell you my comps. I did tell you these. I'm going to tell you guys my comps for him that didn't really work out. But if you look at their size, stature, ability to move, not the most accurate, but they do have strong arms, and they ended up being, both of them, number 2 picks overall, and that is 1, Marcus Mariota, and 2, RG3. I don't think he's quite as fast as RG3, but when you watch Desmond Ridder, the guy clearly is fast, especially in a straight line speed mode, and that was pretty much RG3. RG3 wasn't really known for making guys miss and being a shifty guy. He was more, I'm a 100-yard dash guy. Like, I get out in the open field and I'm just going to beat you to the edge because I'm that fast. Ridder kind of reminds me of that kind of a runner. He's not as super shifty. He can escape in the pocket just like RG3 could, but he's more of a guy that when he hits a hole, he hits it hard, he hits it fast, and he looks fast on tape. So his game speed is high. I also like Ridder. I like his size. He's a 6'4", 215-pound quarterback, so he can see over the line. I do like his deep ball. He has a strong arm. There was one in particular, I think he threw it like 60 yards downfield, hit the guy right in stride. The dude was open, but it was still a beautiful pass. I do like his arm. His accuracy is a little bit of a concern as far as, concern's not the right word. His accuracy needs to be worked on. But we've seen especially recently, guys with quote-unquote accuracy concerns fix those. Like Josh Allen, as of one of the most recent guys, he completely 180'd his accuracy problems. He was known as one of the guys that had terrible accuracy, and then within his third year, he was an MVP candidate and extremely accurate. Could throw like 70% completion percentage, 68. It was awesome. So that's one. Pat Mahomes was not known for a great accurate quarterback, more of a strong-armed gunslinger, and we've seen how tremendous he can be. So it's a lot of mechanics that can be worked on, a lot of different, just basically it's mechanics. I shouldn't say anything else, but basically it's mechanics that can be worked on to fix that accuracy and understanding the offense better and understanding where to go with the football to make sure that his mind is not overthinking things and he is just playing naturally. Yeah.
That's why I say, well, let me go.
Well, hold on. I was going to say, but I haven't said who my comp is.
Oh,
that it could be a ceiling. It's a Hall of Famer. Warren Moon. I think he could be very comparable to the old Warren Moon, who was a tremendous quarterback back in the 80s and 90s, I believe. Definitely in the 90s. I think he played in the 80s. Either way. Undrafted free agent, though, and came out, absolutely crushed it with the Houston Oilers, and became a Hall of Famer. But very 6'4", about 220 pounds, can run like the wind. I think he I don't know if they did 40s back then, but I read somewhere that he ran a 4.44, strong arm, but he was undrafted, so he clearly had concerns. There was clearly, quote-unquote, concerns about him coming out, but he clearly overcame those, and I think his ceiling is a Warren Moon. What do you think about that ceiling?
I'm not mad at it.
So what is your ceiling for
him? Josh Allen.
He doesn't have as strong as arm as Josh Allen.
Doesn't matter. He can be better than him. He's better than him already coming out of college. So I think he's a better Josh Allen. That's a ceiling. But I've been saying his mechanics. And as far as the throws, he has to force things because he basically is the whole team on offense. So
don't disrespect Warren Moon like that.
So
what's up, bro? On in the house. Yep.
Like I say, he still completed 66% last year, 65% this year, and that's with his receivers dropping the ball. They didn't drop the ball as much. He'd still be like 67, 68, and that's with accuracy issues. Mm-hmm. So that's amazing with a guy who has accuracy issues and he's in the high 60s with drops. So like I say, his accuracy doesn't bother me. As far as outside of that, I don't have no problem with this dude. He has everything the other guys don't at the end of the day. And yeah. I mean, let me address this Alabama game because it's on my.
All right, go ahead.
I don't understand what you guys expected from him against Alabama. Like, people harp on that game as if that's his end all be all. Okay, let me just put it this way. You know how many terrible games I'm not even all those other four quarterbacks had, but nobody mentions. But people just want to just nitpick Ritter's one game. Because people in the chat literally saying, I changed my mind on Ritter during that game. You do realize that his offensive line isn't very good. And he's going up against the number one pick that's going to be in next year's draft off the edge. You do realize that, right? He's going up against the greatest college football head coach in college football history. I don't have respect for Bryce Young, but everybody makes him out to be freaking Joe Montana. He's going up against the Heisman Trophy winner. What exactly did you expect him to do? And he got sacked 6 times. So that tells you he didn't have very little help, and his receivers dropped passes. Did he play well? No. He didn't. But what else did you really expect him to do? And like I keep saying, it was 2 throws he made. Had they been caught, that game is different.
Yeah, and well, it also sucks because one got batted down the play before the drop. That would have been a wide open play, but unfortunately it got batted down. He also had a problem with getting it batted down in those games. And he had 6 bat downs, 4. I think it was in that game. I feel like it counted more than that, but fine. 4 is a lot still in one game.
That didn't bother me. Like, what you going to say? He gets the ball batted down too much? It happened in one game. I don't care about that.
Yeah, well, I mean, is he throwing it too low? Is he not being able to get over the line?
A lot of that's not on him. His offensive line isn't very good.
Yeah,
Well, at
and
least
then
that game.
well, one of the reasons why I don't have Ritter over Pickett is the Navy game. The Navy game, he did not play well. And it was a weird way he didn't play well. Because in the Alabama game, he didn't play well because pressure was getting there immediately. And he didn't handle the pressure well. I think there was times where he could have got rid of the football before he actually got sacked, and he didn't understand where his outlet was. And his outlet was open, but he didn't understand what with the play, and he didn't get out there. I'm sure he was extremely nervous. It's a national playoff game, so it's somewhat understandable. It's definitely something he's going to have to work on, though.
He wasn't nervous in the Alabama game.
The Navy game, though, is a concern for me because it was weird. Navy, to try to slow down Ritter, and it actually worked a bit because they did get slowed down. Not that he got shut out, but he did get slowed down. Was they actually didn't send pressure at him at all. They only rushed 3, and they dropped 8 a lot. And Ritter didn't handle no pressure well. Like, it's like he wanted to get rid of it too fast, and then he started getting happy feet and then trying to force things in immediately in the route instead of just waiting until the play broke down, because his offensive line was crushing the smaller defensive ends and defensive tackle for Navy. So he had time in the pocket. Like one play, his pocket clock, I guess, went off, and he just spun around to the short side of the field and ended up giving himself nowhere to go, and he had to get rid of the football. But if he just slid a little bit, let the defensive end come into the pocket, he would have been able to easily step back, slide over to the right, and avoid the rush because his offensive linemen were in position to prevent it. And there was times where he definitely was getting happy feet. He was definitely trying to get rid of it too quickly. He was throwing it into double coverage. The Navy game was actually probably the game that turned a lot of people off to Ritter early in the season, and maybe they just haven't gone back to it. And when they did go back to it in Alabama, they were like, I'm not impressed again.
I mean, that's stupid. At the end of the day, like I said, he's there. The other quarterbacks aren't. You're number one just because of that alone. If you compare his game against any of these quarterbacks' best game, they don't compare. I would encourage you. I don't know if you watched this game. You should have watched him versus SMU.
SMU? I didn't watch that one. I watched the Alabama one. I watched the Notre Dame game. Watched the Navy, and I watched one. I actually watched 4 for him. Which one?
Go watch SMU. I guarantee you change your mind.
And no.
That's his ceiling. That SMU game.
What else did you send me? You sent me a video a while ago. That was the 4th one I watched. But recently, I only watched 3.
Go watch SMU.
Yeah.
That's his ceiling. That's literally Ritter at his best. That is there. None of them quarterbacks can touch that. But at the end of the day, I get it. And like, I'm not going to keep talking about this because, like I say, I'm not going to call the fans, these people, these analysts and fans names or whatever, but you're not very smart. I'll say that. Like, I mean, I like, okay, I'm not.
So I want to address Merle Garrett in 2 ways. So Merle Garrett, I see you're in the comments. You're hot down there. Warren Moon, his senior year of college, went 56.8% completion on 200 passes, or 199 passes, 11 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Coming out, he had big problems. And clearly that's why he went undrafted. And clearly he ended up correcting a whole lot of it. And he turned out to be great. So comparing Ritter, who's already had a better year coming out of college than Warren Moon did, to act like he can't get to Warren Moon status. I'm not saying he's Warren Moon today. He's obviously got a whole lot to work on to get to that point. But to think it's crazy, I think that you're crazy. But I still love you. Thanks for being here. The other one you said was Carson Strong stats. 70% completion percentage, 4,100 yards, 36 touchdowns, only 6 interceptions. Not bad for a stiff, slow, inaccurate quarterback. Huh. Well, when you go to Nevada, and your competition is basically zilch, okay, yes, you're going to have big numbers, and we have quarterbacks every year with huge numbers that don't turn out to be anything at the next level because they're going against. Dwayne Haskins had 50 touchdowns in a year, 8 interceptions, 600 yards. Oh my God, he's going to take the league by storm. He's got a huge arm. He's great. He's this, he's that. But if you actually watch, they're throwing to wide open receivers, okay? Wide open, especially Haskins, but that's a whole different story. Carson Strong, he's throwing to wide open receivers, and he needs to see that they're open to throw it there. I literally wrote down several times, no anticipation. It's never the linebackers here in between him and the receiver, and he knows that the receiver's about to make a cut, and he throws them open. I never see that. I see that with Ritter, and I see that with Pickett. Pickett, to me, is the most NFL ready. But anyway, thank you for your comments. They were good because then it allowed me to go into them more. Watch Carson Strong against California. I think that was one of the games I watched. Let me see. I watched the California game. Terrible back shoulder thrower. He had just completely horrible ones on that. He needed perfect stability to throw. If he gets touched in the pocket, he goes down. 4-yard run just collapsed out of sliding. It looked super awkward. But no anticipation on throws. Like, nice slant pass. So he did have a nice slant pass, apparently. I wrote down in my notes. But these are the kind of notes I was writing down throughout the California game. Like, I was not impressed when I actually watched Carson Strong on tape and actually thought about it. But it is what it is. Wrong. Warren Moon came out, black quarterback. They thought they were not as smart. Bro, it's not like Warren Moon was blowing up the college rankings. It's 11 TDs and 7 interceptions on 200 passes. 56.8 completion percentage.
That's all people look at, bro. Is the completion percentage, and they think that is.
Was there racism back in the 70s? 1,000%, and especially with black quarterbacks. There's a reason Doug Williams was the first black quarterback to win, and that was only because after an injury. I'm completely acknowledge that, but it's not like you had a Warren Moon that was throwing 30 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, had 3,000 yards, was crushing the college ranks, and then the league said, yeah, no, black quarterbacks aren't as smart as whites. We're not even going to touch him. Like, that's not how it went. Clearly, just based on the numbers, right? Unless you have like some sort of conspiracy theory that somebody at the University of Washington was trying to, hold him back, and they didn't really want to win with him, and they were trying to say that, try to sabotage him, even though I don't know why you would do that as a coach when you're trying to win games and your job is on the line. But anyway, so there's that. But anyway, Carson Strong to me was just not impressive at all. And yes, you could have stats, that's fine. Remember, Case Keenum had stats. Dwayne Haskins had stats. Like some of the most biggest years ever of college quarterbacks.
Not to say Mac Jones isn't.
Well, Mac Jones obviously had a good year, but there's better examples, like best college quarterback seasons. There's one that's coming. Oh, Kellen Moore. I think Kellen Moore absolutely went berserk at the college level, and he ended up being nothing at the quarterback at the NFL record. Yeah, Johnny Manziel, Tim Tebow. Like, there's tons of guys that have put up. You'll find out about Trask. Trask had unbelievable numbers, and he's going to be nothing. Round. What's that? He went in the 3rd round?
Yeah, Trask.
Yeah, because quarterbacks go earlier than they should. But it's just, I am not.
Well, I'm saying, like, even with the big stocks, he went late.
We agree to disagree. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. We can agree to disagree there, Merle. That's what sports are all about. It's fun. We can talk players like Geno Smith, Barrett, Kelly Bryant that are all similar to Strong because of their stats. Yeah, there's a ton of QBs at the college level that just killed it with the stats. And I think another one in this draft is Bailey Zapp, or Zappy, however you want to say it. I think that's going to be another guy that does not succeed well at the next level. But anyway, and then my last quarterback, my number one right now, and I would take it number 11. I would take Ritter at number 11 as well, even with his faults. I think there's a lot of potential in that player, and I do like him overall. Pickett, to me, is the most NFL ready. The guy is extremely smart as far as understanding where he needs to go with the football, pocket presence is awesome. There's so many times I watch him, and it's like it's just clean. He steps up into the pocket, avoids the rush, even ducks, comes over, throw. Like steps a little bit to the right, finds his man. A lot to like in that department. He's also a very mobile quarterback, which in today's league is important. And it's not even necessarily I think he's going to run for a ton of yards, but mobility is good to escape the pocket. Right? At least can you get away from the rush to buy enough time to then throw it downfield, and he can throw on the move. He has a beautiful deep ball. I've seen him throw with anticipation, like I talked about. I didn't see from Strong. To me, he has definitely the most NFL ready. He's great size. The one big concern about Pickett is his hand size. He's got little baby hands, as Roger Smith pointed out. And that is a bit of a concern because hanging on to the football at the next level, he does have to wear his 2 gloves. But I think there's a lot of potential in there. And you made the comparison to Derek Carr, and under further review, I think that is a great comparison coming out. I think there's a lot of comparisons you can make to a Derek Carr, who's a very serviceable starter in the league right now. I don't necessarily think that's his ceiling. I think he could be a top 10 quarterback or a top 7, top 8 quarterback, potentially in the right situation, and of course if he grows into it. None of these guys are Drew Brees today. None of them are Peyton Manning today. No college quarterback is. You got to grow into it. Look at Trevor Lawrence, didn't play well this year. Zach Wilson didn't play well this year. Justin Fields didn't play well this year. But eventually the idea is they're going to have better careers. Right? Not everybody comes out like Justin Herbert and throws 31 touchdowns in his rookie season, in a true rookie season. Pat Mahomes sits 1 year, throws 50 touchdowns. That's insane. But anyway, so those are my thoughts on the quarterbacks after actually digging into the film. I like Pickett and I like Ritter at 11. Nobody else at 11.
None of those guys actually get to have situations like the other guys do. If they do the same thing.
Not necessarily, because Joe Burrow didn't do the same thing.
Burrow didn't have it a line.
Josh Allen didn't do the same thing.
Josh Allen didn't have very many weapons either.
He didn't have Stephon Diggs, but he
exactly. He
still threw way too many picks.
Yeah, he did. But he didn't have anything.
There's still way more that you should be able to see from it, but it's fine. Like, it's fine. It's fine.
Pickett. He needs right now. He doesn't have, and this is one of my biggest problems. He doesn't have the ability to, 1, close out games, 2, really step up, and he'll lead a comeback, but he doesn't complete the comeback. Like I harken back to that Miami game when he threw that pick and lost in the game.
Yeah,
that's the comparisons where I give him Carr, because Carr, what did he do? He drove the team right down that field and he threw a pick at the end. Like,
which games did I watch of his when I wrote down my notes? I've watched other notes of him.
UNC
in the Clemson game is what I wrote down. But I've watched other games of him. I don't
know why he backs like so as he hikes the ball, he backs up like 30 yards down backwards. Maybe that's just what he's comfortable with doing. But like I said, I don't have a problem with this dude. I just don't think he has a very high ceiling. I think he has a very high floor. I think he's a starter. I think he's a starter regardless.
I agree. I think that's the main thing. Is Ritter has a higher ceiling potential, lower floor potential. I think Pickett is a higher floor, but not quite as high as ceiling. I do agree with that assessment. And I think if we got a Derek Carr at pick 11, I don't think that's a bad thing. I think he could win games for us. And if we can continue to build a team, I think that that's fine for the future. I like him.
Ritter's my one. And like I said, go watch him against SMU. I bet you switch it from one. I bet you switch it.
I watched his highlight tape. I watched all the great throws, all the best stuff, and I watched Pickett today too. Like I think you got to do it. What, the highlight tapes?
No, this Charleston Smith guy, he lost his mind.
He's the most talented quarterback in this class. He didn't always get to show that at Liberty, which didn't have much NFL talent around him. Well, the thing is, he's also not going against much NFL talent, and he's not able to, he's still. He does do a lot of good things. I don't want to say, obviously he had stats and he had games where he threw tremendous balls, and he does have a strong arm. but he has so many bad habits.
He
So many
didn't
bad habits.
always get to show that at Liberty. If anything, if you're at Liberty, you should be showing that because you're going up against trash. And he's playing badly against trash.
Yeah.
Like, it's whatever.
Yeah, like what receivers did Pat Mahomes play with, right? Or like, you go down the list, I'm sure.
Like people keep saying he didn't have much, bro. You do realize that his teammates can say, well, we don't have a quarterback.
Who did Case Keenum play with when he had 60 touchdowns, 5,600 yards? Like, who did? Obviously, you have some quarterbacks
It's
that
just
obviously
the excuses,
him,
bro, that you seeing now. They just make any excuse in the world, and that's what makes me so angry.
No, it's fine. I mean, people can have.
It's not fine for me because I care about players getting they just due, instead of you just pushing the narrative and pushing the name because that's what sells. That's not right.
That's not what they're doing. They like the quarterbacks that they like, and also the average fan is being told Malik Willis is number one.
Exactly. And that's the problem.
Well, you can have problems with the people that are pushing it actually in the media, as far as the Mel Kipers of the world, the Todd McShays of the world.
But that's why
you can have a problem with them. But an average fan,
they believed it.
That's fine.
What are
they supposed to believe? You know what? Those guys, I'm going to go with the exact opposite of what everybody's saying, that Desmond Ridder is not a first-round pick. They don't even have him in their top 5. But you know what? Screw them. I'm just going to go with Desmond Ridder because I have another feeling. Like, they got to go with what they're seeing.
Okay, but let me ask you a question then.
Yeah.
How in the world did Malik Willis become the number 1 QB off the board over Kenny Pickett in just a couple weeks? How?
Maybe they're hearing something. A lot of those guys,
bro.
Well, hold on. A lot of those guys are like, it's not even about watching film for them. Like, yeah, they watch some things just to say things on TV, but most of the time, what they are putting on the board is what they're hearing. They're hearing. They have connections everywhere, so they must be hearing. For now, Carolina's not interested in a quarterback. Giants aren't interested in a quarterback. Denver's not interested in a quarterback.
But
they're hearing these things coming out of the season, and that's why they have, the first quarterback off the board must be 11, and they must have heard something that Washington's interested in Malik Willis, and they threw Malik Willis in there. It's just, that's what they're hearing, not necessarily their evaluations.
That's their evaluations. But that's dumb. If if y'all want Malik Willis, be my guest. I don't really care.
How did you feel about Mac Jones last year compared to the season he had? I was not a Mac Jones fan. Full disclosure, I was definitely not a Mac Jones fan whatsoever. To me, he was Haskins 2.0. He had so much talent around him. I know he had like a 78% completion percentage, and apparently he did throw a very accurate pass. But to me, I was seeing Dwayne Haskins 2.0. He also had the 2 DUIs off the field that I thought the off-the-field nonsense was a little weird. He didn't have a very good physique, so it kind of seemed like maybe he was a lazy quarterback that didn't really care about getting in the gym and actually working on himself. There was stuff that I did not like about Mac Jones. So full disclosure, I was not a Mac Jones fan, but the day he was drafted to the Patriots, I did say that was the best place for him to go. Like, that was the one place that, because I feel like if he went, let's say he went top 10, he's going to have a mindset of he's a top 10 quarterback or a first-round quarterback, right? But I feel like when you go to the Patriots, that goes out the window. Like, you know the Patriots don't give a crap if you're a first-round pick or not, like Bill Belichick. So it kind of, you have that mindset of okay, I was a first-round pick, but Bill Belichick can let me go tomorrow. If he decides he doesn't want me, we've seen so many times a Patriot had an incredible game, and then he's not even on the team next week. It doesn't mean anything of what did you do in the past? I don't care. It's what can you do for me in the future? So I think he went to the best possible scenario, that Josh McDaniels a great offensive coordinator. Bill Belichick's the greatest coach of all time. They worked with what they had, but there also are times where they didn't use him and they won a game where he threw 3 passes, right? So jury's still out on him, but full disclosure, I did not have high. What were your thoughts on Mac Jones coming out?
The Mac Man's the Mac Man.
The Mac Man's the Mac Man. Man, we talked a lot about these quarterbacks. I just looked up at the time. That was fun. All of a sudden, it's 50 minutes in, and we haven't even gotten into the playoff games. Nobody wanted Jones because he was very one-dimensional. That's another thing, too. He was not mobile at all. That's very true. Malik was sacked 51 times in 2021. Tough to make great plays when you're getting sacked 51 times. I mean, I'm telling you,
30 of those times were his fault.
There's a lot of times where he is trying to make way too much happen with his legs, and then he ends up running into a defensive lineman. Anyway, but that's that. Okay, you want to go through these games real quick?
Yep.
So, the Cincinnati Bengals took out the Las Vegas Raiders 26-19, but not without a little bit of controversy. What did you think about this game overall? Of course, Derek Carr did throw a pick at the end of the game when it was a 7-point game. That was unfortunate, but I believe it came on 4th down, didn't it? Yeah, it was 4th and goal. It was from the 9. He tried to force it in there to double coverage. It didn't work out. Interception, game over. What did you think about this game?
Got whooped.
Got whooped.
Raiders got whooped from start to finish. That game showed you the difference between an average quarterback and a franchise quarterback. Joe the Goat Burrow is a beast.
He is a beast.
That's all it told me. And the Bengals are well on their way to Tennessee to whoop on them. Good job, Oakland. You made it. Now you come up right on home. We got a spot for you on the couch.
Yep. I mean, I thought this game was obviously it came down to the wire. Yes, the Bengals were clearly the better team. They had the lead the whole game, but the Raiders fought back, man. Max Crosby's a stud. Max Crosby is an absolute beast. You gotta love Max Crosby. Like it was a slow start for him because I think they were focusing in, and then eventually he ended up getting the first sack for the team, and he did as much as he possibly could to keep that defense somewhat competent in this game. And then, unfortunately, the Raiders just couldn't quite get there. Good for them, though, for even being this far. But I can never say that guy's name. The head coach, Batapsia, whatever, however you say his name. He did a tremendous job with all the stuff around him. But what did you think about the controversy of the whistle blown? Shouldn't have been a touchdown for Burrow going out of bounds, but it ended up being a touchdown. They called it wrong. There's apparently stuff saying that the refs are not going to ever coach a playoff game or ref a playoff game again because of this huge mistake. Because by rule, if the whistle is blown in the middle of the play, it can't not score a touchdown on that play. What did you think about that one?
This is my first time hearing about it.
Oh, okay. So you didn't see it in real time?
But I mean,
there was a big discussion about the whole thing, and yeah, apparently, I watched it, but Joe Burrow was rolling to his right. He was about to step out of bounds, but he threw it at the very last second, found Tyler Boyd in the end zone, back of the end zone, but as the ball was in the air, they blew the whistle. You could kind of see Trayvon Merrick kind of give up on the play, but at the same time, I don't think he was going to be in there in time anyway to block it away. But by rule, they should have stopped the play, canceled the play, redid the down, and it should have been 3rd and 4 again and see if they can score again.
Yeah, I mean, man, screw the refs. Touchdown.
Screw the refs, touchdown. Well, that's what they ended up choosing, and that was the difference in the game. But at the same time, there was a lot more of the difference in the game. All right. Next game, Buffalo crushing New England 47-17. I wonder if people are going to hype up Mac Jones after that playoff game, but he didn't play. He did have 2 interceptions, but there was times that he played pretty well. It's just the Patriots defense couldn't just slow down Buffalo at all. They literally scored 7 touchdowns, actually 8 touchdowns in a row, right? I think they literally scored on every possession. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He scored 7. Oh, no. Did I miscount? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 touchdowns. How did they? Oh, yeah, 7 touchdowns. I'm an idiot. For some reason, I was thinking 42 would be 7 touchdowns. And I was like, wait, where's the 8th? But no, yeah, 7 touchdowns straight. The only time they didn't score was when they were kneeling it at the end of the game. Were you surprised at how the Patriots just got the brake speed off of them.
Yeah, kind of. I thought it was gonna be a closer game, but hey, Josh Allen went up there, did what he had to do. But hey, they'll be back.
Do you think this hurts Bill Belichick's legacy at all to get
You
beat
know
like this
why?
in the playoffs? Well, this is his first playoff game without Tom Brady, and the first playoff game without Tom Brady, he gets his doors blown off 47-17, 30-point blowout.
With a rookie.
Right, but the rookie didn't make the difference on the defense. Like, he's supposed to be a defensive coach, Bill
Well, I'm
Belichick, and
saying
just
it
getting
doesn't hurt him
absolutely
because he's not.
sliced and diced.
He really shouldn't be there.
Shouldn't
The
be in
mere
the
fact that
playoffs.
he's there with a rookie of Mac Jones' caliber, that's not an indictment.
I agree that the fact that they were 10-7 is impressive. I can agree with that for sure. But so you don't think that? So as far as the mindset of it was Tom Brady, not Bill Belichick, you don't think that gives any weight to the other side? You think it was just completely ridiculous and move on and don't think about it?
That's a stupid comment. Whoever said it's Tom Brady and first of all, Tom Brady wouldn't be who he is without Bill. Bill don't want to pick them.
Yeah.
So
maybe. But yeah, okay.
Tom wouldn't be Tom. If Drew Bledsoe never would have got hurt, Tom Brady wouldn't be here right now.
If Drew Bledsoe never would have got hurt, Tom Brady would. Oh well, actually, that actually might be a fair.
So let's let's pump the brakes on that. Just because he went somewhere with a loaded and stacked team and won a Super Bowl doesn't mean that Tom Brady didn't need Bill. Like, y'all forget.
Well, as soon as he goes to another team, and you said they were not very good, he wins another Super Bowl.
They wasn't, because they put up against teams that were injured.
They are good.
Well, something was always wrong. So, and then look at them now.
We'll see. We will see. They won their playoff game. We'll get into that one.
Right?
Well, first of all, before we move this, Josh Allen was amazing. 21 for 25, 308 yards, 5 touchdowns. They actually ran the ball effectively, which is not something Buffalo does. They had 174 yards on the ground, 16 carries, 81 yards for Devin Singletary with 2 touchdowns. Something else that I thought was very interesting, Zach Moss didn't get his first carry until like the fourth quarter. Like, they have completely gone away from Zach Moss. I don't follow Buffalo like that, but I remember in the beginning of the season, for me, if you were to ask me which running back would emerge as the number one, I thought it would have been Zach Moss. But clearly Devin Singletary has locked up this job.
They need a running back.
You think they still need a running back?
Yeah.
Well, maybe Devin Singletary can be that in the future. He crushed it this game.
They got to go against the Chiefs. So, hey.
Yeah, they do go up against the Chiefs next. All right, next game, the 1 o'clock game on Sunday. The score really doesn't even tell the whole story. 31-15, Tampa Bay over the Eagles. This at one point in the fourth quarter was a 31-0 blowout. Yeah, I guess the Eagles shouldn't have belonged there, huh?
No, but they were there. They got there. If we was there, we probably would have beat them.
You think we would have beat Tampa?
Yeah, I do.
Well, we already did beat Tampa once.
Because they actually would be more injured. They basically be like us. It'd be a fairly even game.
Fairly even game. Except they have their quarterback.
Yeah, but Heineke beat him already. And he almost beat him the other year. So that would have been that would have been great to see us play them again. They probably would have been scared to death to play us. But right. I mean, the Eagles. I thought the Eagles was gonna win the game because I thought they was gonna run the football. Jalen Hurts probably gonna make 1 or 2 throws, but apparently that. Oh boy, they need.
Well, the run defense of the Bucs, who also got healthy, I think they got Levante David was hurt. They got him back for this game. That run defense for the Bucs is absolutely nasty with the likes of Devin White and Levante David. Like, they are so good. And, of course, they have Vita Vea, who's just a big ogre in the middle of that line. He's amazing. Then you have Ndamukong Suh still, Shaq Barrett, and JPP. Aging vets, but they're still good. that front seven absolutely crushed the number 1 rushing team in the league.
I mean, they are. That's all they. I mean, they pretty much knew that's all they could do is run. So.
Yeah, Jalen Hurts went 23 for 43, 258 yards, a touchdown, and 2 picks. Tom Brady, 29 for 37, 271 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Mike Evans, leading receiver, 9 catches, 117 yards, and a touchdown. What a stud he is. And he was actually getting separation against those Eagles corners. Like, I was surprised by that. He's usually not known for getting that separation. He's usually just a 6'5" body that goes over top some guys, but he was having some comeback routes with like 5 yards of separation, and Tom Brady was finding him on some good ones, so I like that. Good for him. All right, our favorite game of the weekend, the greatest team of all time, the obvious Super Bowl champions, according to a certain fan base, the Dallas Cowboys fall to the San Francisco 49ers 23-17. Did you hear about the controversy in this game?
Oh yeah, I watched it. The little referee running late to try to top the ball down.
Yeah, what'd you think about that?
Doesn't matter. You was gonna lose anyway. You should have never had ran. I said it. I was like, why the heck did you just run a quarterback sneak? Like you could have just threw an out route, and if you ain't get it, do a Hail Murray. Well, like no, that was dumb. No, they ain't getting no.
I have strong opinions on this. Actually, I have to nail you down on this. Not nail you down, but I'm very curious. Do you think the refs messed up? Like, do you think the refs screwed the Cowboys?
No.
Why?
I mean, screwed the Cowboys basically would mean they the reason you lost.
Well, I'm saying in that last play, do you think the refs were wrong? Like, do you think the ref did the right thing in that play?
He tried to touch the ball to help them out.
No, not to help them out.
Yes, it is to help him out. He has to touch the ball so it can be in play. If he doesn't touch it, you can't hike it.
Well, true, but he was doing his job, but he wasn't doing anything to help him out. If they were trying to help him out, they would have just said, "Yep, good, go for it." Like hey, it is. But he instead ran into Dak and the center.
And
came in.
What was he supposed to do?
Well, hold on. I'm just saying the case. I agree with you. I 1,000% agree that the Cowboys were trying to cheat to get one more play, essentially. Because Dak Prescott handed it to his center. His center then put it down on the ground, and they were trying to line up in a play. First off, the ref never touched the ball. That's just by rule. But not only that, they weren't even on the right spot. He slid at the 26-yard line, and they were spotting it at the 23.5. Like, they weren't even close to where the line of scrimmage was supposed to be. So they were trying to cheat a few extra yards. If I was the ref, after I saw that dumb play, I would have picked up the ball, talked to my other refs. Where is this ball supposed to be? Right? Like, I would have looked at my sideline judges and been like, is it here? Is it over here? Where's the mark on the ground? And then, so they would have been way screwed if I was the referee. Not because I'm a Washington fan, but how stupid can you be when you're Mike McCarthy and Dak Prescott to run the ball up the middle with 14 seconds on the clock as if you're going to get a... And then they were complaining about how far the ref was behind the line of scrimmage. Like, oh my God, why is he 20 yards behind the line of scrimmage? That's where he's supposed to line up. Like, what if Dak Prescott dropped back 15 yards looking to try to throw a Hail Mary, and then the ref is standing 10 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and then he runs into the ref and trips and falls, and then all of a sudden they're complaining about, why is the ref so close to the line? Like, you're supposed to be at least 20 yards out of the line of scrimmage to make sure you're way out of the way. And then they were like, why was he so far behind the play when, like, why was he so far away and not there to put the ball down right away? Dak Prescott is running away from him. Like, what do you expect the ref to be? Usain Bolt with the agility of freaking, Barry Sanders, and then and then running with him side by side, holding onto his pocket? Like, you have to stay the heck out of the way. What if he pitched the ball? What if he ran backwards? What if it wasn't the goal of trying to slide? Like, the ref is like, I don't know what the heck the call is supposed to be. Like, what in the world are you and what next? You want a GoPro so you can see Dak Prescott butt cheeks running up and down? He's right behind him the whole time. Like, the expectation of this referee is unbelievable. And Dak Prescott saying, like, basically, good job on the fans for throwing stuff on the refs because of what they did in that game. It was unbelievable what the nonsense that Dak Prescott and his Cowboys think that they can get away with. Like, Jerry Jones doesn't have that much money where he can just completely abandon the rules and you spot the ball wherever you think you can put the ball. Like, this is ridiculous. What did you, like, Tim Carroll laughing, the Cowboys fan. I don't know if he's laughing at me because he thinks I'm full of crap or if he agrees. I don't know. But that whole thing, the rants that Cowboys fans are having on that last play should have nothing to do with the ref. Because first off, the ref gave you an opportunity to potentially spike it. Because the ref should have moved it back 2 yards. Like, it's unbelievable, the idea that they think that they could have got away with that. That was hilarious. So, anyway, those are my thoughts on that last play. Did you probably didn't, because it's not, like, super popular, but it's actually pretty good. I like it overall. Like, I like the formatting, but this one was actually pretty fun. I liked it because I thought it was funny. You're talking about a Redskins fan. Here's a Redskins fan for you. This is a Redskins fan take, but at the same time, it's real. Kurt Warner has a channel. Have you ever watched any of his videos of the QB breakdowns?
One?
Which one is that? Did he do Ritter?
Heineke.
Oh, he did a Heineke one. What did he say about Heineke? I'm just what's the short stuff?
He missed his throws. He missed his people.
He wasn't very on target or not very understanding. That makes sense. Anyway, if you watch this Kurt Warner video on Dak Prescott and the Cowboys not showing up, he casually, and he doesn't say this in a mean way once, but just casually destroys the next great thing, Kellen Moore. Like, every play he shows throughout this game, he's like, yeah, this play design is crap. Like, I hate this play design. And I don't think he ever says anything about Kellen Moore specifically or Mike McCarthy, whoever designed the offense. But he's like, why? These concepts are not good. This is not how you should be running these concepts. But since this is the play call, this is the best way to run this play. And then Dak Prescott was doing everything wrong and not running it properly. And he also showed that Fred Warner is an absolute stud. But what else did you think about this game?
Dallas lost. I mean, like, you know what? Let me say this, because you was one of them. Like, this goes to show you, and this goes to show people that your quarterback, when he is average, he will not win you the game. He's not the guy that will win you that game. He's the guy. You're not gonna win it because of him. You're gonna win it because everything went right, not because of him. There's no reason for Dallas to lose to the 49ers, in all honesty. They have the more better talent offensively. You have Amari Cooper. You have what's that boy named? CeeDee Lamb. Dalton Schultz is a freaking animal. I don't even know. He's a freaking animal. He has high potential. You get Dalton Schultz, Ezekiel Elliott, Tony. It's zero. Tyron Smith. It's no reason for you to be just a first round exit. But that just goes to show you got all that talent, but it don't mean crap because your quarterback is average.
Yeah.
So.
No, it is sad to see. Well, it's not sad for me because I'm a Skins fan, but it is sad for a team in general to pay $40 million for a quarterback per year, and they can't even win you the number one playoff game, like the first round. Like, you're going against what are they? The 6th seed in the playoffs at home, pretty much fully healthy. I mean, you had Amari Cooper, you had CeeDee Lamb. The only one you didn't have is Michael Gallup out of the guys that you normally have. But then you had, as you said, Dalton Schultz. Cedric Wilson's okay. He's not great. Tony Pollard is a stud that they only gave him the ball four carries and 2 catches, which is probably some sort of sin somewhere in the South. Like, this was bad. And Dak Prescott was not very good. And Kurt Warner was actually very interesting on Jones should fire Dak, he sucks. It was actually very interesting with the concepts being ran that talk about a predictable offense. They ran the same play, I believe, 4 times, and Fred Warner played it the same way every single time and read it beautifully. And unfortunately, Dak Prescott did have a great throw, but Fred Warner was right there that almost picked it off, but it ended up being a perfect throw by Dak Prescott. But it was very interesting to see. Like, Kellen Moore was doing a lot of things wrong in that playoff game, for sure. But anyway, but the great Dallas Cowboys fall to the Niners. They're the only home team to lose, which is awesome. Great. And we'll go to another game here. The Kansas City Chiefs absolutely dismantle the Pittsburgh Steelers. I did not get my upset pick correct. I went out on a limb, and the limb just broke off, and I fell down to the ground. But it is what it is. That's what happens when you pick such a tremendous upset. Most of the time you get it wrong. But it was fun nonetheless, because they did make it interesting for about a quarter and a half. The first touchdown wasn't until Pittsburgh got a sack fumble. TJ Watt scooped it up and returned it for a touchdown. So it's like, ooh, the Steelers are winning. Like, okay. Like, maybe I could get my prediction right. And then after that, the Chiefs proceeded to go on a 5-touchdown blowout. Bang, 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 bang. And, it was no more. What did you think about Big Ben's final game and this one?
Terrible, horrible, putrid, pathetic. Goodbye. It's about time you got out of Dodge. Tired of watching you. Man, it was a terrible game. They got blown out like I said they would. Yeah. I don't even know why they tried to make the playoffs. They needed that high draft pick. I would have tanked.
They do need a new quarterback. Or is Dwayne Haskins going to be the next quarterback?
Yeah, right.
Oh, Dwayne Haskins. No, they did make it interesting for a bit, but Pat Mahomes ended up just absolutely crushing it. But you know who I think you could even argue the player of the game. It's hard to be player of the game when your quarterback goes, yes! I was happy for Jerick McKinnon. Jerick McKinnon several times in his career was supposed to be the number 1 back, and then an injury screwed him. He was in Minnesota that could have been the number 1 back. He was in New York with New York Jets that could have been the number 1 back, and then also in San Francisco. And I was super excited for him in San Francisco, knowing the Kyle Shanahan run scheme. And I think he even got hurt in the preseason. Like, I don't think he even played a single game for them. So who's your favorite dwarf, Sleepy? But I was really happy for Jerick McKinnon. I thought that was a lot of fun. I mean, he ended up with 142 yards from scrimmage and a touchdown through the air. I loved that for Jerick McKinnon. Good for him. Travis Kelce also had a touchdown. Tyreek Hill had a touchdown. And then the other guy I was happy for, Nick Allegretti, the offensive lineman that ended up getting the touchdown. That big boy was so happy. For big boys like me around the world, I mean, he caught that touchdown, and I think he ran from sideline to sideline in the end zone, hyping up the crowd, spiked the football. That chubby little face, you could see his cheeks hanging out of his helmet. I was so happy for that guy. It was fun to watch. But anyway, so you're not going to miss Big Ben. Did you like Big Ben ever in his career?
No.
So you always thought he was trash?
Nah, Ben was just average. That's the truth. He was an average quarterback. That's my true thoughts about him. Right. If you go look at his numbers, he's average. Like average.
Right.
So, I mean, hey, but he's one of those quarterbacks. You put the right team around him.
He's had some years that were not average whatsoever. Like in 2018, he threw over 5,000 yards. I think it was 5,100 yards and like 38 touchdowns or something like that. Like he's had years where he was not just an average quarterback, but now he is over the hill. I mean, that one play against the Browns, I'm sure Expert would know what I'm talking about, where he just like falls out of nowhere and just trips and like throws it away.
He came at Ben Roethlisberger, he left Ben Worthlessberger.
He came as Ben Roethlisberger. That's a great way to end that game. All right, we got one more game to talk about, and it was another blowout. Unfortunately, 4 out of the 6 games were absolute blowouts, and I think at every point, and even in the San Francisco game, they were up by 2 touchdowns at one point. Dallas made it a little bit interesting. I think it was only the Raiders-Cincinnati that pretty much stayed within a 1-score game, or did they ever take a bigger lead? I'm looking here at the play-by-play again, actually, now that I think about it. It was at one point a 10-point lead. That was the largest lead of the game, which, all things considered, for the rest of the games, that's not too bad. But, oh, shoot, did I mess it up? Messed the whole thing up. No, there it is. Rams-Cardinals. What did you think about this game?
Rams
won?
Rams came in there, they did what they were supposed to do.
They did what they were supposed to do?
Yep. They don't get no cookie from me. They need to finish.
They don't get no cookie from me. Kyler Murray, and this is the reason why I picked the Rams to win this game, was because of the experience. Matthew Stafford's obviously a whole lot of years compared to Kyler Murray. Sean McVay has been to a Super Bowl before. He's been to the playoffs several times. They even won a playoff game last year over the Seahawks, didn't they? Didn't they upset? Was it the Seahawks that they upset in the first round last year? And then they ended up losing to...
Yeah, because
Jared
Goff's finger was messed up.
Yeah, Jared Goff's finger was messed up, but he came in anyway and ended up upsetting him.
John Wolford.
Yeah,
Wolford.
Yeah. Kyler Murray's not a good leader. His body language is terrible. Well, to be fair, when you're down... they were down quickly. And he wasn't playing well. They were down 21-0 at halftime. They were down 28-0 after the first drive. I mean, that sucks in your opening playoff game. But he was not very good. I mean, he was not very accurate throughout. He was not comfortable whatsoever. That interception touchdown where he was trying to get rid of the football to save 2 points ends up he just threw it up in the air, Hail Mary, but didn't even get across the line of scrimmage and ends up being a pick 6. That was not very good. But it's unfortunate, but I do think he'll come back of it. But the Cardinals are an unfortunate team all around. They were 7-0 and ended up finishing the season 4-6. Lost 6 out of their last 7 games, I believe it was. It was... What in the world? I know they had a couple of injuries, but 5 out of the last 6 games is what it was. No, wait, I counted the wrong way. No, I didn't. 5 out of the last 6 games, including the playoff game. Do you think that it was a fake 7-0? Do you think that they were not real and now they came back down to earth? Do you think they're not actually a very good team, or do you think they are a good team and the injuries kind of made them fall apart and it didn't work out for them? Do you think Cliff Kingsbury's the right coach? What do you think there?
I think that Kyler Murray is a small quarterback. Every year, he gets off to a great start. He gets injured. He sucks. That's what happens to that team every year. Every single year. He starts off, Kyler Murray, MVP, oh yeah. He gets injured. He comes back. He's never the same. They struggle down the stretch. It's the same thing.
So you think he was injured even when he came back? He was just, you think it was an injury that screwed him up?
It's not like he's going to be, he's healthy now. No, he's small. He's not going to get healthy. I'm not blaming his injuries, though, because I don't care. I mean, you're small. That is what it is. You're going to have those problems because you're small.
Yeah, I didn't think about that as even though he's back, he's probably not fully healthy. I never thought about it.
Like I said, they don't got D-Hop.
Yeah, they didn't have D-Hop, but they still have some weapons over there. They still have A.J. Green, even though he's older. They still have Rondell Moore. They still have Christian Kirk, Zach Ertz at tight end. I like James Conner out of the backfield with Chase Edmonds.
Do you
And
think?
obviously DeAndre Hopkins is superior to all of them by a country mile, but I still don't think that if you are the number one pick, if you are a top tier quarterback in the league supposedly, I still think you had enough weapons to not get shut out in a half and then be down 28 to nothing.
I mean, you finally coming around to my direction. You finally coming around in my direction. I keep telling you this. Now you're actually getting it.
What's that?
There's no excuse. And it's not no excuse, but in the same breath, he didn't have D Hop. And when you're going up against the Rams, Jalen Ramsey pretty much, I don't give a crap about AJ Green, Christian Kirk, and Rondell Moore. Who are they? You know what I'm saying? They're not gonna beat me. So he this is what we gonna do. They ain't got D Hop. Man coverage across the board. Front four, go kill him. I ain't gotta do nothing. Second thing I can do, you ain't gotta cover nobody. But hey, the Cardinals had a good run. The Cardinals need an offensive line. That's what they need. And they need a true two. And they need a tight end. That's what they need.
Fair. Wait, the Cardinals?
Mm-hmm.
You don't think Zach Ertz is a good tight end?
He ain't gonna be durable throughout 17 games next year. And I think
Another tight end wouldn't be bad.
But they probably gonna sign him because they traded for him. So.
All right, well, let's hop in through. So the last two things we got are our weekly picks, and then we have our Super Bowl picks.
Mm-hmm.
All right, the Cincinnati Bengals.
I'm up one.
Yes, you are up one. I did not get my Pittsburgh over KC. I went out on a limb and it didn't work. I picked the Cowboys, so you got the San Francisco win, and then I picked Tampa Bay. You picked the Eagles. Those are the games we had different. So this week we got 4 chances. I'm down by 1. Cincinnati Bengals at the Tennessee Titans. Tennessee Titans getting King Henry back. They're an interesting team. They're the number 1 seed. They're going against the great Joe Burrow. Do Cincinnati continue to ride this run, or does Tennessee end it here?
Joe to go. Give me Joe to go.
You went Joe Burrow.
Give me Joe to go.
I was thinking about Joe Burrow as well, honestly. I was thinking an upset.
You literally telling me pick between Joe Burrow and Ryan Tannehill.
I'm going to go Joe Burrow as well. I'm going to go Cincinnati. I like what Cincinnati's doing over there, but I also like the Titans. I think this could be a very, very good game.
Be, blowout. It's gonna
be
a close
and
game.
if Tennessee wins this game, I wouldn't be surprised at all. I love Mike Vrabel's head coaching prowess. I think he's been doing a phenomenal job there in Tennessee. Even with a guy like Ryan Tannehill, they continue to win double-digit games. They ended up losing the playoff game against the Ravens, but they beat them the year before that. I don't think they're real Super Bowl contenders either. So I'm going to go with Joe Burrow, as you said, the better quarterback out of the two, and that is big in a playoff game. But they also have some pieces over there. They're not just Joe Burrow. Trey Hendrickson played really well. Jesse Bates and the other safety, Von Bell. Thank you very much. And then they also have Sam Hubbard on their D line. They have actually a little bit of talent over there on the defensive side. And then they also have, of course, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd. Arguably, now that Jamar Chase is busted on the scene, arguably the best wide receiver trio in the league now at this point. It's tremendous. What do you think? Who has a better wide receiver trio than the Bengals right now?
Nobody.
Especially with now no Antonio Brown. Maybe you could have said Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown would have been in that conversation. But outside of that, I don't really see one comparable. So you have that. CJ Usomas played pretty well over there at tight end as well. And then Joe Mixon, who honestly is a top 5 talent at running back. Maybe he's not literally top 5 in the league right now because there is a lot of talented running backs, but he has that kind of caliber talent under his belt, and he showed it this year with 1,200 yards on the ground. So we're both going on Bengals on that one. I like it. All right. The San Francisco 49ers against the Packers. The Niners, they have been on fire just continuously keeping their year alive, beating the Cowboys, beating the Rams, beating the Houston in their last 3. They've won 4 out of their last 5. I believe they've won 5 out of their last 6. Their only loss against the number 1 team in the AFC, Tennessee, in the last 6 games. What chances do you give the 49ers to compete with Green Bay?
0.
0. So you got the Packers. Do they win handedly, or do you think this is a good
They're
game?
going to win handily.
I am also going to pick the Packers, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's actually a pretty good game. Didn't they play earlier this year? What was the
Rodgers is not Dak Prescott. Jimmy Garoppolo going to throw interceptions to get Aaron Rodgers actually going to cash in.
Earlier in the year, this game went 30-28. Packers barely beat the Niners 30-28. So I think this could be a totally good game, but I agree. I am going to go with the Packers. The Packers always find a way to go to the NFC Championship game, and then that is when they lose. All right, next game, we got the GOAT, Tom Brady, going against the Los Angeles Rams. This is also a repeat from earlier this year. The Rams beat the Buccaneers 34-24. Do you think the Rams do it again, or do you think Tom Brady magic in the playoff shows up again and they ended up winning?
I think Tom loses.
You got the Rams beat.
Matter of fact, I got Rams in a blowout.
Rams in a blowout. I got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tom Brady is not going to lose to Matt Stafford. I don't care what kind of situation they got over there. I think the Rams falter again, and they lose to Tom Brady, but I wouldn't be mad if the Rams won. I do like Sean McVay. I do like Matt Stafford, Cooper Kupp. Aaron Donald's awesome. Jalen Ramsey. I like the Rams. I wouldn't mind seeing them going forward, but spoiler alert, I got the Bucs in the Super Bowl. So it's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be a really good game. But you think it's going to be a blowout? You think the Rams are going to do what they did to the Cardinals?
They're going to blow them out. It's not going to be close.
It's not going to be close. All right, we'll see. But that's the one game we have different this week. And now this is the game of the week. This game is fun. This game is exciting. We have 2 of the top quarterbacks going at it in this game. You don't know what you're going to get through the rest of the team, but obviously you still have great receivers as Tyreek Hill and Stephon Diggs. You have Travis Kelce and then another phenomenal tight end in this game in Dawson Knox. The Buffalo defense at times can look elite, and then other times they look suspect. You never know what you're going to get out of them, but they do have a lot of talent on the defensive side of that ball. Probably the best safety duo in the league with Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer. They don't have Tre'Davious White, though, and then Kansas City's defense, talk about a defense that's been suspect all year long, but yet they still found a way to win 12 games because of how great that offense is. Where do you have this matchup? Both teams coming off a blowout about their opponents.
I think the Buffalo Bills finally beat the Kansas City Chiefs and overtake them. Josh Allen shows why he is better than Patrick Mahomes and makes his way to his first AFC Championship title game in league history.
You're funny.
Give me.
I picked the Bills as well, but not because Josh Allen is better than Pat Mahomes. But it doesn't matter. I also picked the Bills, and so the only game we got different is Tampa Bay or the Rams. So we're either going to end up tied this week, or you're going to take a 2-point lead, and then I would have to get all 3 right, and you would have to get all 3 wrong of the last games for me to even have a chance. Because there's only 3 games after this weekend, which is pretty crazy. But, all right, so you got the Bengals versus the Bills. Who do you got going to your Super Bowl in that matchup?
Cincinnati Bengals, Joe Burrow in his second year takes his team to the NFL Championship game. Give me Joe the Goat Burrow when he's going to smoke his cigar in the AFC Championship.
Wow. Okay. In that matchup, I got the Bills taking out the Bengals. I don't think the Bengals are ready to go all the way to the Super Bowl. I think they have a bright future ahead of them, but the Bills have gone a little through the trials and tribulations just a little bit longer. Sean McDermott, I think, is a better coach than Zach Taylor. I think
Disagree.
the Bills find a way to get into the Super Bowl. That is my prediction there. So for you on the NFC side, you got the Rams versus the Packers. Who do you got going to the Super Bowl to face the Bengals?
Give me St. Louis.
You got the Rams versus the Bengals. Matt Stafford versus
That
Joe
would
Burrow.
be the ideal matchup because that's firepower against firepower.
I disagree.
That is perfect.
I think there's a better Super Bowl, and that's mine right here. I got in my Tampa Bay versus Green Bay. I got Tampa Bay winning it again. They're going to upset the Packers 2 years in a row, move on to the Super Bowl, and I think Tom Brady going against Buffalo. Buffalo facing him for 20 years of their existence and just got absolutely beat down year after year after year. And the way the Bills finally get to the top is they overcome their demons and they take down Tom Brady, the ultimate thorn in their side.
Boo.
And they do that to win the Super Bowl championship over Tampa Bay. And that is the best storyline in the playoffs left.
I disagree. That's not better than my Super Bowl.
Okay, so who do you have winning it? The Rams or the Bengals?
Bengals.
You got the Bengals winning it all. Joe Burrow. That is a fun storyline. No, haven't won a playoff game since 1990. And then all of a sudden they draft their quarterback and they win within 2 years of doing it. That's a fun storyline. Not as good as what I think I have, but it's still a good one. It's a good one.
It's a more entertaining Super Bowl.
I just disagree. I just disagree there, Jeris.
You tripping. I ain't trying to see no dad going 30 yards running with Tampa because they can't throw crap. Josh Allen just slinging it everywhere, but he can't score a touchdown. I don't got time for that. I want to see a 56.
Josh Allen just scored 7 touchdowns in a row against the GOAT.
I want to see 56-48. That's why I want to see some high flying. I want to see matchups. I want to see Jamar Chase versus Jalen Ramsey. I want to see that kind of stuff.
Just thinking a little bit more.
Double up. Thank you for doubling up. The Tim Sports Talk.
Man, a part of me wants to go to Tennessee, pick Tennessee over the Bengals. A part of me does, but I'm not going to change it. I'm going to stay. All right. It won't be Tom Brady will be disappointed this year. Interesting. Rams are extremely talented. They are a very talented team, but Matt Stafford's had some talented teams around him, and he's never won a playoff game. He did finally win one, but that was against Kyler Murray that was playing like absolutely dog doo-doo. Now he's going against the GOAT. Can he do it? You think the Panthers are going to give Darnold one more year? Depending on who they draft in the first round. I think they're drafting quarterback in the first round, and it depends on who that is. If they draft a Malik Willis or a Sam Howell, if they draft one of those, then yeah, I think Sam Darnold's going to get to play another year. Maybe not another year to stay in Carolina, but another year to prove that maybe he can be a quarterback somewhere else. But
he'd be a solid backup, though. I ain't gonna lie to you. He'd be a serviceable backup.
Yeah,
I'd bring him in to be a backup.
Low-end starter.
Make Heineke
backup.
3.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, I wasn't really impressed with Sam Darnold, but yeah, as a backup, I think that's a phenomenal backup. I think he could be very serviceable in a game or two, for sure. But anyway, all right, well, that's all we got for a show. Thanks everybody hanging out in the chat It was fun. Any last things to say over there, Jeris?
Man, no.
Give me Kyle Hamilton. I am going to start diving into the other types of prospects now that I feel good about who my final 2 quarterbacks are. And
I'll take it off, man.
yeah, so I'm going to start doing my film breakdowns on all of those guys. And then as soon as the Super Bowl's over, my plan is to start going ahead and put out a ton of videos on the different prospects of potentially who could go where. And we could have, or not who can go where, but what do I think about them and where do I think they should be. I'm trying to come up with a system so in the future, like, I can gauge how well I did. We'll see. But that's what I got. We're good?
Yep.
Beautiful. Thanks, everybody. And until next time. See ya!